Welcome back to Rich Tech. Today we are going to attempt to repair this Magsafe 2 power adapter of 60 watts, and it has mainly two defects. Right here next to the connector, the insulation is peeled off, and right here next to the point where the cable joins the adapter, there is a major damage there. And these are common damages to all Magsafe chargers because of the design of these Apple cables. But we can give this charger a new lease of life and make it have a long life. The first stage in this repair is to cut off this damaged wire and test it for continuity and the working of the connector. So I'll cut it right here. Should give us a clean cut. Having cut there, you examine the rest of the cable, it looks okay. So that being the case, we can go ahead and repair this point right here. The repair on this portion of the cable is fairly straightforward. The first thing you do is to identify the portion of the rubber insulation which is destroyed, and as you can see here, it goes up to this point. So I'll cut off that portion, make a neat cut, then we remove the damaged rubber. Now that leaves us with a clean cut right there, and these wires hanging out. The next thing, we want to remove the same rubber insulation which is under this junction right here, so it is also destroyed. The aim here is to push this or pull this remaining rubber all the way to cover this exposed wires and push it underneath this junction and secure it there with super glue. So that is what we want to do now. Removing of this rubber insulation inside here is also easy. All you need is a sharp razor, then you need to put it inside there and cut off the rubber all around. In the end, you'll have such a space which this rubber here will slide inside. Now while you're cutting that rubber, a few strands of this negative wire will be cut off. It is not a problem. All you need to do is collect them and cut them off. Just cut them off cleanly like that. Before we proceed any further with this repair, we'll need to confirm if this cable is functional. So we'll test for the working of the connector and also for the continuity of the wires in the cable. Now to do that, we'll need to peel off and to expose the wires down here. Before we do that, there is this junction we need to add here first of all. I have other videos which show how to repair or to come up with such a junction, but I've gotten this from another replacement MacBook charger, so it's fairly simple to adopt that for the sake of this repair. Expose the wires down here so that we may use them to check for continuity and the functionality of this cable. The white one is the positive or V out, and the bare one is the negative or return cable. Remember, we've got this adapter. We've cut off this wire from this point. We also need to check if this adapter is working. So the best thing we can do now is to test both at the same time. We'll test the cable and the adapter at the same time to see if we have functioning components we just need repair. To check for the functionality of this adapter body, I have opened it up. This is how it looks like inside. Now I've removed the junction out, and because we are not using this junction today, I'll just cut it off, being careful to have these exposed wires left. So I'll also peel off these wires or millimeter from the end and remove the insulation. We'd want to connect this charger to a proper cable which works, and see if it has output. So be careful with the razor. Peel off 1 millimeter from the ends of these wires. Expose the wires like that. Now we are ready to test with our cable. We'll connect these two at that point, and then we'll connect this charger, as we can do right now, to a power source. Connect it to a power source. One of the things you should look out for or hear when you connect an adapter to a power source is a popping sound, which shows that this has an input. But in this case we've not had it, so we'll just go ahead. There is a popping sound that shows you this has input. Now what we need to know if there is output. Now to know if there is output, we need to test with a MacBook. I've got a MacBook already set up here. I'll have this cable we are trying to repair, connect it right there, and connect these ends of the cable to this adapter, and let's see if it is functioning. Now normally I would test for any short, but the way this cable looks, I think I've eliminated the short which was here, so I don't think these wires are meeting at any point. They are completely separate. But if you want to confirm, you can still go ahead, use your multimeter and test for any short circuitry. Now we want to test if this cable is working and if this adapter is working. All you do is to connect this. Already this is connected to a power source, so you just connect these two wires, and voila, both the cable and the adapter are fine. And this is one of the few tricks you will learn as you repair MacBook chargers. You'll find that if a MacBook charger has problems right there, there is a short of the wires either exposed or right here, chances are that this charger itself is okay, and the cable is also okay. It's only that point which has a problem. So all you need to do is to remove the damaged portion and repair the two remaining areas, that is the cable and the adapter, and you'll have a functioning charger. Like in this case, the connector is working, the cable is okay, there is no short, the adapter is also working. So here we can go ahead with the repair without any doubt that we'll have a good and a perfect product at the end. Next is to repair now the cable. I've pulled this rubber insulation all the way up to this point. Now I'm nearing the point where it has to enter this junction. Now I'll pull it further and bring it near, then I'll put glue inside this portion right here, so that when I pull it right through, it sticks and remains right there. Before fixing this joint permanently with super glue, it is important to do a dry run. A dry run is basically fixing everything together to see how they will fit before you put the glue. And that's what I've done here. Pull this rubber insulation all the way underneath this other outer rubber insulation, and I've seen that it will fit properly. So I can go ahead now and pull it back and put glue inside there, and now push it in and have it permanently inside there. So we put some glue inside. Then very quickly push this inside there. You can do any changes you want to do now before the glue sets, and hold it in place. You can also wipe off the excess glue. With a piece of cloth, and be careful not to touch the glue because this is super glue. It can hold your fingers together. Should do a good job. Your final joint will look as good as the new cable. And that is the completion of that repair at that connector end. With the repairs at the connector side complete, I will move to this other end of the cable, and we have these two wires. I have heat shrink tubing which I'll use to insulate that. The problem with my heat shrink tubing is the color. It is the same color as the insulation on the positive side. So here I'll need to be very careful. If you have another color of heat shrink tubing, you can use it, but I'll use this white because it's all I have now. And be very careful when you're soldering these wires back to the charger. Of course, the white one will go to the white one, and the black one will go to this one with the insulation. And you need to mark those down carefully so that you don't confuse them when you're soldering. The next stage of this repair is fairly straightforward. We need to solder these two ends of the wires together, and I've already applied some soldering wire to them. So all I need is to match them up and to solder. Remember, this white insulation may confuse you with this other one. So just to avoid confusion, I'll go ahead and solder the white wires, insulated wires first of all. With that, I'm remaining with this wire which I gave it the insulation. I know that will go to the black. And before I solder this other part, I'll need to insulate this joint. And you can do that either with the heat shrink tubing. In my case, I'll use insulating tape. Once you insulate it like that, it is okay. Now we can go ahead and solder the negative or return wires. Make sure you solder both ends. The solder spreads evenly. With that, we are through with the soldering. Now we go ahead and cover the joint once again. Ensure the masking tape goes all around. There is no place left where the cables or the wires are being seen through. And turn it. And that is finished. Next, we need to fix this junction right here. So we put some super glue at the ends of the wire here. At this point, you can also put super glue to the remaining portion of the bare wire at this junction. It also acts as insulation. Put a generous amount and then pull the junction back. It will stick at exactly that point. Now you can return all this back into the charger. Just twist the wire around so that it settles in a circle inside the charger. And that's how it should look like. Once it settles in there, our charger is ready to be closed up. Now to close it, we'll still use super glue. Remove this outer clip, add some super glue to this joint all around, and then squeeze it shut. You can start here, just a little glue, don't put excess, a little glue will do. And be careful not to touch the glue. Wipe off any excess glue before it dries up. Then fix the clip which you removed. Fix the inner clip, fix the outer clip, then squeeze the charger shut. You can hold this in a vice grip just to ensure this joint is fitting perfectly. Once the glue sets on the joint, it should look something like this. And if you've done a good job, your end product should look almost as a new charger. And that's how you repair Magsafe chargers with injuries at the connector and at the junction side. Once we wash this, it will look like a brand new charger. Now check this charger out. It's a brand new charger. You cannot tell we had a problem right there, and we had another problem right here. This charger is a new lease of life. Now we can go ahead and test it. Connect it to a MacBook, and connect the charger to the power source. And there it is. That's how you repair your Magsafe 2 charger when it has problems in the cable. Once again, thank you for watching. You can, if you like this content, you can consider subscribing, liking and sharing. Thanks for your time.